Okay, this is the engine bay of our 1971 Chevrolet Corvette Coupe. Really neat car. I like this car. I took this and used it for, I don't know, probably a good week. It's a really nice running car. It does have a numbers matching correct block engine in it. However, this car started life as a just base motored 350 Chevy engine. But the gentleman that had this car built it to 1971 LT1 specs. So at this point, what it does have is an LT1 style intake manifold on it, a Holley carburetor. It's got the fin valve pan covers on it. It does have a solid lifter cam in it and forged pistons, and everything in this motor is done to an LT1 spec engine. It has all its original shielding on it. There's new plug wires on it, or newer plug wires, I should say. There's new power brake or brake booster. It does not have power brakes. It does, however, have power steering on it. It's a nice running, fantastic performing car. It's an automatic. It has all the vacuum lines hooked up on it. It's a no-hit body. This car hasn't been whacked anywhere, which is really important to a Corvette. All your bonding strips and everything are still intact, just the way they were from the factory. It's a nice running car. I really can't tell you that there's anything negative on this vehicle. The engine performs as it should. There's no leaks on the top of the engine, on the valve pan covers or anything. Like I said, it does have a dual plane, high-rise LT1 style intake manifold on it also. It has a clutch fan with the correct fan shroud on it and the high flow radiator that's laid down in the Corvette because of the height of these cars. But just the way it came from the factory, it still houses its original style ram horn exhaust manifolds on it, which were a good high flow design. Chevrolet used these for quite a few years successfully. It's just a new alternator on it. It's chrome. It shouldn't be chrome, but it is. Donnie put new belts on it. I don't think there's anything on this vehicle that really isn't still original. This car supposedly was in storage for about 30 years. We got the vehicle and went over, freshened everything up on it, and it's just a nice running car. It doesn't do anything wrong. A lot of originality on it. It still has its original style mudguard flaps in the front that go in the A-arms. They're still intact and original. They're getting a little hard through the years, but they're still original. Inner fender panels, which are fiberglass, of course, original yet. No one spray canned them, rattle canned them, or anything yet. It has the original style hoses, top and bottom, for the radiator. And like I said, everything in the motor is new. You can see the engine's been out and freshened up, new water pump on it. Everything on this is just as fresh and clean as you'd want. It has a correct 14-inch unsilenced air cleaner that came with it. I really can't give you a negative on the car underneath the engine compartment. It's just a great performing, nice, presentable 71 Chevrolet Corvette in an upgraded engine from its base design. Hi, you're at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida, and one of my very favorite cars of all time is a Chevrolet Corvette. I've had one of these every year since I turned 18 years old. My dad got me one whenever I got out of high school, and I've had one every consecutive year since then. Not a new one every year, but I've always had at least one Corvette the entirety of my life. This is a 71, has a lot of originality to it, but it has a few modifications on it. It's a great car, it's a no-hit body, and we're going to go over it and we're going to show you everything about it. So, this guy started out as a standard engine car, but now it's built to LT1 specs. It has an LT1 style hood on it, which is the Dome 427 style hood that they used in 70, 71, 72 in the LT1 style cars, small block cars. And that's what he tried to accomplish here, is make this into an LT1 style car. The fitment is really nice, and most of these Corvettes, the hood and the front fender here never seem to match, and this one has an exemplary fit to it. Really nice fitment of the hood. You can see the whole way around. You're about 1/8 of an inch gap. The chrome on your scoop outlet, they're fake, but they are there. But the chrome itself is just as it was when it was new. It's a correct style pinstriping that goes around here. In a real LT1, it would say on the side here LT-1, but he left that off. It has a lot of original paint on it. The hood obviously has been painted. If you look at it, it matches very well. It might be one minute shade off of the original paint, which is probably faded, and this was probably more representative of the original color of this car when it was new. I think it was called Ontario Orange, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the name of this color. But anyway, the paint is driver quality, and it has a lot of originality, like I said, to it. So you're not looking at an absolute show car, but you're looking at a Corvette that hasn't been whacked and repainted and fixed anywhere. Has all its original bonding strips that I could see, because you can see them underneath. I was under this car. And everything is still intact on this car. It is a no-hit body. You can't see it, and I should have pointed it out when we had the engine bay open, but the vacuum diaphragms that actuate your headlights, which do work, by the way, and so does the wiper system, they still have the original cadmium plating on them, which is usually worn off through the years, or someone spray canned it with a spray can, semi-flat black or flat black. These are still cadmium plated. Look at the headlight fitment on this thing. Just as nice and precise as you can hope to find on one of these guys. Corvettes usually have a lot to be desired as far as fitment, and this car is really an exemplary fitting car. Corvette flags, of course, that Chevrolet uses on a lot of their vehicles, but it originated with the Corvette. Front bumper, the fitment is absolutely precise, and the trim, the chrome on the bumper is just as fresh and nice as it was when it was new. Could not ask for any better fitment on that front bumper. The grille areas are completely, it's hard to see under here, but the plastic is not broken or chipped or cracked in any way. This trim is usually deteriorated, and this car has no deterioration whatsoever. Amber parking lights on it, and they're nice and shiny and clean, just the way they should be from the factory. Does have the front spoiler intact on it yet. It was a little scuffed up when we got it, so I put a new one on it. It has a center grille in it also, and we do have, if it goes to a state where you need the license plate frame, we took the license plate frame off and put it in the cubby hole behind the passenger seat. So it does have the front frame work for the car if you have to put the front license plate on it. Front end of this thing is just exemplary. It's just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. Again, the only thing I'm going to pick is this is like one shade darker than the rest of it, but that's because this is done years later, I'm sure, after the car had faded somewhat. Nice front end of the car, no hit body. Let's go down the side and see what we can show you there. Okay, this is the driver's side of our Corvette. This is painted on, by the way, I forgot to mention. This is also paint here. It's not pinstriping tape. This is painted, hand painted on, so we left it alone. A couple little marks here and there. You can see where the bonding strip is, shrinkage through the years, which is good. Anybody that's looking at a used Corvette always wants to see the bonding strip, and you'd also want to see the rivets that go across the front, and if you look real close, you can see where they're at too. Tells you this car's never been whacked in any way. It's a little chip off the paint here. We'll probably try to brush touch that, but certainly we're not going to do anything else with it. Again, our grill area and the door that opens up for the wipers is just the way it should fit. It's actually a very nice fit with the doors and the fender and everything. Usually these are off somewhat. Stingray designation. These really should be painted the color of the car with just the outline, the raised part showing chrome. A lot of guys, what they do is they strip it off because inadvertently what happens is the paint comes off anyway. You can't paint chrome. So after a few years, this paint starts to deteriorate and flake off. So what most guys do is take these out. They're real easy to access. And they go ahead and strip them and leave them chrome. It actually a little bit of a custom look to it, but you either like it or you don't. It does look okay though. This also is supposed to be painted, but this is stainless steel, and it's this person's chosen to brush it. It actually adds a little bit more character to it because it now lines up with the stainless trim that goes around the windshield, which is a sunshade fade windshield. There's no marks whatsoever on it, absolutely none. You can't see them, but you'll see them when we redo the interior drive video. We'll put the wipers on for you. But it has original wiper arms and blades, if I remember correctly. Dashboard is original. It's that darker tan color, and your speaker enclosures with the perforations are still all there, and they're not broken out or deteriorated in any way. Absolutely none. Dashboard has no cracks or chips or marks or anything whatsoever on it, or deviations. It's just a real nice dashboard in the car yet. The correct style Corvette mirror, they always sit up a little bit high, but it does have the correct style driver's mirror on it. The wipes, whiskers, just as fresh as clean as you'd ever hope to find. Tinted glass inside too, how about that? Original door handle, a couple little tiny scratch marks on it from fingernails or something, but that's it. Certainly nothing that you'd want to replace, and it functions too. Most of the time these will warp a little bit and this will catch. Easy to fix it. You just take a screwdriver, you give it a little bit of a twist, and it pushes this back where it's supposed to be. Paint on the door is really, really nice. Overall, the condition of the paint of this car is a driver quality, but it has a lot of originality to it. So, I mean, it's something that you would leave alone. You would brush touch a couple little things, or we're going to do. But other than that, you just leave it alone because the car just has a lot of originality to it. Fitment of the door to the quarter is absolutely as precise as you'd ever hope to find. Again, our painted on pinstripe. Normally I go and I try to show you that there's no rust, but if you figure out a way to rust fiberglass, let me know. Again, side marker light in the back, just as nice as can be. Red the way they're supposed to be. Just a really exemplary side of the car. It really looks good. The rocker panel molding is still nice and straight. It's not marked up or cuffed up very badly, like a lot of them are. 15-inch by 8 wheels, which would have been standard on this car, with the tall hats in the center. Your trim rings and your hats are all just as nice and fresh as you'd ever hope to find. They're not banged up or anything. And it has the regular General Motors hats on too, instead of a cheaper aftermarket hat, which a lot of guys go to now, the cheaper plastic ones. You can buy them, I think, for about 30 or 40 bucks a set. Take a look at the cost of one of those sometime on eBay for an original stainless tall hat center for a Corvette. Side of this car is as nice as you'd ever hope to find. BF G radials on it, white leather. The tires are in excellent condition. The whole side of this car presents itself as an original car. I didn't go over the top, but it is a T-top car. You'll see that Devin has a lot of pictures of it, I'm sure, with the tops out so that you can see that they are out. There's 2 little latches here. You snap them out, pull them out, and there's a storage place in the back here for them. It's a really great system that General Motors had for the Corvette, and they're still using it today. So must have worked pretty well for them. Let's go out back. Okay, rear section of our 71 Vet. Correct style antenna on it, single mast, just the way it should be. Again, they left the grills natural metal on them. They gave it a little bit of a polish, just a little bit of a contrast. Those are normally painted too, but again, this person, a little bit of customization on it. You know, left the side panels and that trim piece across the front and now in the back here. He added a little Chevrolet bow tie here on above the gas cap. The paint on the car is just really, really nice. You would absolutely do nothing with it. Again, it's a driver quality, original type paint on this vehicle. I can't tell that the car has been painted, to be honest with you. The hood we know has, but the rest of it appears to be mostly original paint. The back window is also tinted, and it also comes out. There's a couple little latches on top. You unhook them, and then this has 2 pins that go into the base of it. You lift that back window out, and there's a tray that drops down right about here. And you can take that window, and it slides in that tray. Then you snap the tray back up in place, so it's housed in right underneath the deck here on it. And you still have all your storage area, plus you have room for your T-tops and still storage area for groceries or whatever else you want to carry. Gas filler door, obviously. Brand new cadmium gas filler cap on it. Chrome on the bumpers in the back is just absolutely beautiful. Real nice chrome on it. And the bumper fitment again in the back is just as it was in the front. just as precise as you would ever hope to find. Another custom little added feature here, they went to the bubble type, larger protrusion type tail light bulbs, glasses, lenses, whatever you want to call them, in this car. It really looks good. It gives you a real dramatic effect to it. The only thing it did do was eliminate your backup lights, which in a Corvette, I don't know if you really need them or not. You're only 4 feet away from what you're backing up anyway. But it gave it a nice custom look to it. They were actually a nice looking set of lenses that went on the back of this car. Rectangular pipes coming out the back, and the chrome bezels that go around them are excellent too. There's no deterioration on that chrome or the chrome around the license plate enclosure. All that stuff usually shows a lot of deterioration. On this car, it does not. It is absolutely as nice and clean as it was when the car was produced. Really nice. This is usually all patina the whole way through here. This one is not. Okay, and Corvette designation on the back. Again, the chrome on the bumpers, no one's put their feet up on them, are not scratched up or scraped up at all in any way. So the back end of this car is just the same as the side, and the front is just a no-hit vehicle, just in great condition. So we got one more side to do for you. Okay, our last side, passenger side. And again, you can see that there's absolutely no, you can't see it, but again, there's a bonding strip that goes across here. And if you look, you can almost detect where it is, but not quite. But all the panels, this car is comprised of 36 individual panels that are bonded together with what's called bonding material and a bonding strip. And whenever they put them together, that leaves about a 1/4 of an inch gap there that they fill in with the bonding material. And through years, that shrinks just a little tiny bit. And it's indicative of a car that's never been hit. That's what you always try to look for. And again, the top on this side, the same as the other side. Stainless trim is as nice as you'd ever want to find. Door handle the same on this side. Nice. Look at this fitment though. Usually these cars don't fit that well. This car has a really nice fit to it. Real nice fit. The window on the other side and on this side, just as tight and fresh as you'd ever hope to find. And the white whiskers on this side are new, or as new anyway. They're probably original yet, but they still have resilience to them and they fit the window nice and tight. Tinted glass on this side also, and guess what? Right-hand mirror. Nice addition to these cars. They didn't come with them, but a lot of guys put them on, including me, because you can't see without a right-hand mirror. Trim around this side of the window and the front. Same was the other side. Perfect fitment. Paint on the door, just as nice as it was on the other door, the quarter, the top, and everything. It's just really, really nice. I think I only found that one little tiny mark there that needs one brush touch. That's the only thing I've seen so far. And again, look at this fitment. Are you kidding me? Look. And this is a Corvette. This is not a stamped steel car. I mean, it's unusual to find them with this type of fitment on a Stingray again. And you can see the stainless chrome grating here, just as nice as can be. And again, there's no indication that the car's ever had any trauma whatsoever. There's none. There's no repairs inside the fender wells, front or back, you know, from bigger tires or being cut into a turn or something, or maybe in tracked where a tire catches it and tears the fiberglass. This has none. Just as nice as can possibly be. I forgot to mention the side marker light in the front on you. It's just as nice as you'd ever hope to. They're inset, so there's no way that anything ever deteriorates. It's either good or it isn't. And these are good all around. And we're back where we started again. It's a 71 Corvette. Coupe, obviously. Has a lot of amenities to it. It has a juiced up motor, but it is a correct numbers matching block in this car. It is a correct numbers matching engine, for sure. It does have a automatic transmission in it. 8-inch rallies all around it. The hats are nice and excellent condition on them. They're not deteriorated. Trim rings are all nice. They're not all beaten up. BFG white letters all around it. A great color combination. This Ontario with the tan vinyl interior in it. Tinted glass, which was an option on this car. You got an LT1 hood on it. So in all intents and purposes, it's the same as an LT1, only you're not going to be paying that price for it. So it's an absolute fantastic vehicle. It's available here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach. And again, we encourage everybody to come down and look at these cars. And it would be fun to go out in this thing and drive it again with you and put it up on a rack and show you everything underneath that's absolutely as original. New exhaust, all kind of neat stuff on it. And that's why we do these videos, because if you can't make it down and you live in Washington State or Maine or wherever it may be, and there's reasons you can't come and look at the car, we try to present them as well as we can, and Devin's going to give you about 90 to 100 always high resolution photos that you can take a look at this car in its entirety. You can look at every aspect of this car on a still photo that you can blow up. So when I'm pointing to something, you'll probably be able to get one of Devin's pictures, blow it up, and see exactly what I'm pointing to. The car's a fantastic car. Like I said, I used it for about a week. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice running car. Everything seems to work in it. All the gauges, everything are working as they should. And it makes somebody a great toy. So take a look at it. It's Hangsters in Daytona Beach. Okay, this is the interior of our 71 Chevy Corvette Coupe. Again, this thing is just an exemplary car in really excellent original condition. The seats have not been recovered. They didn't need to be. They're in excellent condition. The vinyl on them, the original carpeting, everything's still intact. All your console area is not deteriorated. A lot of times this edges are eaten away from people putting things in here through the years. This is not automatic. It has the engine designation on it. Park and brake in the center, just the way it should be. Your gauge clusters, big huge speedometer, big huge tachometer, and there's 5 gauges here actually, one of them being a clock, but nevertheless there's 5 pods there showing all your engine functions, oil pressure, fuel, temp, amp, time. It does have a Mickey Mouse radio in it. I don't know whose it is, but it's not a standard Corvette radio. Generally someone's going to go ahead and put, because there's nowhere else really to put them in this car, their own CD player in it or whatever they're going to use for a sound system in the car. Great addition to this car. Look at this. Tilt and tilt telescopic steering system in it. It doesn't sound like, so what, you know, a lot of cars have tilt and tele. The difference is in a Corvette, you're pretty much sitting on the ground in this car. So when you get in and out of the car, to help you access getting in or, you know, exiting the vehicle, you lift the wheel up and you move it out of the way. Or if you're a shorter person, the seat moves up, and if it's you know, a 5-foot tall wife or something, she can move the steering wheel closer to her. For some reason, girls like a steering wheel in their stomach for some reason. I have no idea why. Where guys will want it further away from them. Go figure. Map pockets, that's what GM calls them. There's not a glove box in this car. There actually is. It's behind the seat here. It's fairly large. It's about, I don't know, about 14, 16 inches square, and it's also about a foot deep at least, maybe 16 inches deep. So you got a pretty good system there. The battery is housed right behind the driver's seat in the same type of enclosure, and then between those 2 enclosures there's a glove box about that big and about that deep. So you have map pockets there for your phone or whatever else you need. Carpeting is the same style carpeting that came with it. I believe it is the original carpeting. Kick panels are still in nice condition. They're not deteriorated. And the biggie is the door panels. They are not deteriorated. They are original. The bright work is really nice on them. The armrests are not cracked or broken anywhere. Take that back. There is a little tiny crack right here. There is one clean in the back from someone's elbow through the years. Sun visors are the original woven type sun visors that came with the car. And the tops, normally these things have a lot of deterioration. These do not. These are just as they were when they were new. Same with the seats. The seat backs the same way. I mean, the seats are in excellent condition. Carpeting in the back here the same way. Your seat belts, your shoulder belts that are on the car. Everything in this car is as it was when it was original. It's a nice representation of a 71 Chevy Corvette, and it has the original Corvette floor mats in it yet too from General Motors. It's a great car. We're going to go for a ride in it. We're going to show you what works, and I know it's a good car. Like I said, I used it for about a week, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great color combination. It's one of the most popular or sought after combinations that There are, and this, I know you're saying it's just a tilt telly, but it's a biggie in a Corvette. It really is, and this guy has it. So this car's available here at Hanksters, and if you're in the market for a Corvette, this one's very nominally priced. It's a really high-end car as far as originality goes, and it's something that anybody that's in the market for a Vet would want to take a look at. So take a look at it. Hanksters, Daytona Beach. Okay, let's see what we got. It's a 71 Corvette. About 120 degrees out here right now. It's unbelievably hot. Unbelievably hot. Let's see. Headlights. See, they just popped up in the front there. Put them back down. Let me see, show you again. See? Boom. Headlights popped up. Vacuum operated. Okay. Wipers. Working just the way they should. Door opens, closes, wipers come on, horn. We got no horn. Huh. We have no horn. Nah, but we do have, though, check this out. Telescope and tilt. How about that? Okay, seatbelt light. I'm not putting my seatbelt on because I'm in and out of these cars 100 times a day, so I don't use them. And we only go a few miles down the road and back. So that even works. If I put my seatbelt on, that would go out, but you have to push that to show you. Speedometer, I'm sure, is going to work. Tachometer is working just like it should. You can see it's working just as though it should. Hopefully we're going to make it back because we have no fuel, and I know the gas gauge works because I was using the car. The water temperature is starting to come up. We just started it. The clock is not working, which I know didn't work before. Oil pressure is showing you nice and high. We're up about 55 pounds of oil pressure, 60 pounds of oil pressure right now, cold, and the battery is charging just the way it should. Mickey Mouse radio, I don't care. I don't know if, apparently it works. I don't know, something's working there. Let's see what else we got. Turn signals. We got turn signal left, working the way it should. We got turn signal over there, working like it should too. So about the only thing we need is a horn that goes beep beep. Or you can roll down the window, and there's obscene gestures you can use for the same. I think it has the same effect. Nice tight running car. I mean, the car just does everything it should. Like I said, I use this thing for about a week, and it's just a really nice running car. Goes down the road straight. Let's see if it stops straight. I know it did. There it is, stopping straight as an arrow. So stop straight, it steers straight. And it runs like an LT1 should for 1971. So it's an upgraded motor from the standard motor than it was. It even shows everything as an LT1 right now. They never made an automatic LT1 though. They were all 3-pedal cars, all 4-speed cars. But this particular one is an automatic, and it runs just fine with an automatic. I'll give this guy a little bit of a shot out here for you. You know, it's hopefully it won't get caught. About 80 something, that's probably enough. Slowing her down the way we should. You can see the speedometer's working. We're down to 50 now, 45, 50. Car runs just like it should, goes down the road straight as an arrow. There's no negatives to it. I mean, it's a nice precise steering car, nice steering resolution. It has a great sound to it. It's not objectionably loud. It runs like a 71 LT1 would run with an automatic. Of course, it would be a lot more fun if it was a 4-gear, but you got an automatic in this one, so that's the way you get it. Great overall condition in the car. Mechanically, I'm telling you, there's nothing. I used this car for a week, and there's absolutely nothing that you can say negative about it. It's a great running car, handles well, drives well, stops well. And it's a no-hit body. This thing's a nice straight old Corvette with a lot of originality to it. A lot. take a look at it, because it's here at Hanksters. And it's the only one we got right now. That's it. Well, this is the undercarriage of our 71 Chevy Corvette Coupe, orange car. A lot of originality here, a lot. This car's never been in any trouble. See all your bracing in the front, it's all original and totally undisrupted, absolutely as it was when it left the factory. Little ding here from being jacked up through the years. That's where everybody jacked their Corvettes up, is on this cradle. And there's a little bit of an indenture there from that. Has a large vibration dampener, which tells us that it's a solid motor. It's got a 6-quart pan on it. It would have a forged steel crank in it and forged pistons, generally with that dampener on it. You can see the engine's been out and completely freshened up. There's a little drip of oil right here, but it's from the oil being changed. There's actually one on the filter too. It has new filter and new oil just put in it. There's no leaks on the bell housing area or the transmission itself. New vacuum modulator on the side of it. Your transmission cooling lines are the original lines that came with this car that go forward to the radiator. This is your slave cylinder for the power steering that Chevrolet incorporated on the Corvette. They used a conventional box and then added a steering pump, power steering pump on the front, and a slave cylinder on the undercarriage of the vehicle. It's a pretty simple installation. It has new calipers in the front, new rotors in the front, and new associated hardware. The shocks are newer shocks. They're not brand new, but obviously they don't need replaced. This car really handles well. Like I say, I used it for about a week. Steering box is still the original steering box in it. It doesn't seem it's been out or disrupted in any way. And the idler arm the same way. This appears to be about a 6-quart pan on this. It's a longer pan, so it's a Corvette pan with the baffling, and it may even have a swinging door in it too. No marks on the frame anywhere from being jacked up through the years. And Corvettes used an entire box frame. It's not like a Chevelle where they, used a C-channel type frame. This is an entire box frame, front to back. And if you notice structurally, you got this huge engine cradle in the front. Then you have another transverse mount here that ties the frame section together. And then you have another section in the back here. These things were really constructed very well. Chevrolet made these cars as torsionally strong as they possibly could. The cast iron manifolds are the original exhaust manifolds on the car, and they came with a set of 2-inch primary pipes that went back to the mufflers in the back, which you'll see here in a second. But you can see the exhaust system is absolutely as new. There's no deterioration whatsoever on it. No rust, no scale. Hot though. We just pulled it up on a rack. All the linkage on the transmission is just as clean and nice as you'd ever want to find. Speedometer gear not leaking at all whatsoever, and the same thing with tail shaft, no leaks whatsoever on it either. So you have a leak-free drive lane, at least at this point. That doesn't mean a year from now you're not going to find some oil on a garage. It's a muscle car. It's going to leak for you. Same as a Porsche or a Ferrari. If you don't like oil leaks, it still has its original deflector pans in the front, just the way they were from the factory. The floor pans are totally as solid as they were when they left the factory in '71. There's no marks whatsoever indicating that some idiot tried to jack it up on a fiberglass floor pan instead of all the framework that they have, but people do that, and this car does not have an indication of that at any point. Nothing's been repaired. It's still all original, just the way it was. Oh, let's see. Original brake lines going toward the rear. Fuel line the same way, all original yet. The parking brake is still hooked up and functional. It has the parking brake assembly is actually right here. It's not on the floor pan in the front. It's on the center console, and it works on a pulley system here that actuates the two brake lines that go to each brake drum in the back. It does have parking brakes, actually, believe it or not, with disc, because inside of that rear disc, there's actually a drum brake system. It's actuated by these cables, so that's the way Chevrolet chose to do it. Actually, it's a great idea. It's the way everybody should have done it. Again, there's no marks on the frame at all indicating any jack marks or any distress through the years. Got a huge set of rear shocks in the back. They've definitely been replaced through the years, but they're not absolutely brand new, but they're a big ass set of shocks that aren't leaking, and they're in excellent condition. Both half shafts are just as nice as can possibly be. And he has new calipers in the back also. It has new rotors in the back also, which it did in the front too. So you got new calipers and rotors in the front, you got new calipers and rotors in the back also. Your rubber mounts on your bars are just as nice as can be. They're not deteriorated at all, none whatsoever. The transverse spring, which is a multi-stack spring that they use as a transverse system for the rear suspension on this car, is just as fresh and nice as you'd ever hope to find. The rubber grommets on each end of them are still nice and fresh looking. And then you can see your exhaust system goes into a set of brand new mufflers in the back here. They're a standard type, they're not a loud muffler, they're a standard Corvette muffler that would have been equivalent to what was released in this car in 1971. So it has a nice sound to it, has a nice rumble to it, but it's not objectionably loud. The spare tire carrier is still intact. There's no spare in it. Most of the guys take them out. Nobody uses a spare anymore. In fact, new cars don't even. Corvette hasn't had a spare tire in it for I don't even know how long. For the newer ones, so most everyone just carries a bottle of Fix-A-Flat with them. The tires on the car are in excellent condition. They're not brand new, but they're probably 75–80% there. Certainly nothing that you'd ever want to replace. Swing arm assemblies, which are usually deteriorated depending on what part of the country the car came from, but these things are usually deteriorated somewhat. These are not. They're just as fresh and clean where they go into this frame structure and in the back part as you could ever hope to find. And again, the fiberglass itself, you know, we're looking up into the fender wells, which you can't see, but all that still retains its original bonding material, bonding strips. It's in excellent condition. This car's not had any trauma, front, back, sides, nothing that we could detect anywhere. So the undercarriage of this Vette is the same as it was on the outside that we presented to you. It's just as nice and original a car as you could ever hope to find. It's a no-hit body, absolute no-hit body, and it runs and drives. All the gauges work, which we'll see here in a minute. It's a nice Corvette, so take a look. It's at Hanksters in Daytona Beach.